Whether you rent or you're looking to buy a place or move or anything like that, then you know that the cost of housing is high and still rising. In fact, the cost of housing is the single biggest part of the increase in cost of living in the last couple years. For most people, the increase in your cost of housing has been way bigger than that for groceries or your car insurance or something like that. Our housing market is just not delivering the supply of housing that we need, while demand keeps going up. And the result of that is that the cost of housing keeps going up. Let me show you what I mean. This here's a look at all the residential building permits issued in the state of North Carolina in the last 25 years. You see this big crash right here? That's the 2008 Great Recession. I was there. It sucked. One thing the Great Recession did was it led to a crash in new housing development that didn't really recover for another 14 years. You see all this empty space right here? That's like 500,000 housing units that just never got built. So in other words, if housing construction in North Carolina had kept pace during all that time, then we'd have 500,000 more houses and townhomes and apartments and walk-ups and whatever else to soak up all that demand, and costs would be lower. And that's just North Carolina. Nationally, the United States is estimated to have a shortage of between 5 and 10 million housing units. Now, there's tons more stuff that affects the housing market. Airbnbs and short-term rentals, institutional investors buying up homes, rich people buying vacation homes, all that stuff does have an effect, but it's all pretty marginal compared to the overall shortage of millions of housing units. In fact, it's because the overall inventory of housing is really tight that we even notice all that other stuff. If we had a huge glut of cheap housing, no one would care if your neighbor has an Airbnb. So why aren't we building a lot more housing to make up that shortage? Part of it is because local governments really do make it very difficult and costly to build new housing. In a lot of places, it's actually illegal to build anything other than single-family detached housing. If you're concerned about sprawl or conserving rural land, then you should be strongly in favor of promoting housing density. But the other part of this is that it actually just costs a lot to build housing with the cost of labor and materials and financing. No one spends millions of dollars building tons of new housing for charity. In a free market, builders are only going to build the projects that make money. If we want to bring the cost of housing down, then we've got to increase the total supply of housing, and that means finding ways to bring the cost of building down and to incentivize builders to build.